everybody, here we are, back to reading chapter books. We have a new chapter book today. It's called Humphreys Really Wheelie Racing Day. Very fun. What kind of animal is Humphrey, do you suppose? Oh, very good. I heard somebody say guinea pig. Good try. It's not a guinea pig, something very similar, and I know friends in our classroom talk about this kind of animal a lot. It's called a hamster. Very nice. Let's clap the word hamster and see how many parts that has. Hamster. Two parts. Ham and then stir. Very nice. So it looks like this hamster has a car. Oh my goodness, that sounds like super fun. I can only imagine what a hamster might do in a car. As you can tell, I like to read stories about animals. I hope you like stories about animals too. Plus, since we are doing this chapter book reading, I wanted to make sure that we could read about something that was kind of fun and had some excitement, had some pictures, and all those kinds of things. This book is written by Betty G. Burney and illustrated by Priscilla Burris. So Betty G. Burney, does anyone remember what we call the person that writes a story? Very good, that's the author. And what does it mean to illustrate a story? Okay, illustrating a story is very nice, drawing the pictures. Okay. So here we go. Looks like the hamster has something in the middle of a car. Let's check it out and see what's going on here. All right, Humphreys Really Wheelie Racing Day. We know that when we open it to this page, this is called the title page. And it says the same thing. Humphreys Really Wheelie Racing Day. Written by Betty G. Burney, illustrated by Priscilla Burris. Very nice. Humphreys Really Wheelie Racing Day. This is called the Table of Contents. And as you can see, the Table of Contents is not very long. Let's see, is it a double pager of Table of Contents? Nope, it looks like it has 4 chapters, so we should get through this book pretty quickly. And that'll be fun, and then we can read another one. I love reading, and I love reading chapter books. I especially love reading to you. So, thanks for joining me, Buster and Kate. I'm sure they'll make their guest appearance like they always do, or quite often do during story reading. They are with me all the time, and it's a good thing, because I miss you so much. It's nice that they are always with me, so I can feel happy, because they make me happy just like you. It was Friday afternoon in room 26 of Longfellow School. I was spinning on my hamster wheel, trying to stay calm. Fridays are always exciting for me. I wonder why Friday is exciting for Humphrey. Any ideas out there? I know at our school, Fridays are exciting for me because I get to do PE with you, moving and wiggling around with Mr. Mercado. We get to have fun Friday, so that makes it super exciting because I get to hear you giggle and laugh and play together, and that makes me very happy. So Fridays are also exciting for me. Every Friday afternoon, I get to go home for the weekend with a different classmate. It's the best part of my job as a classroom pet. Of course, Mrs. Brisbane knew whose turn it was to bring me home. She plans my visits with the parents, but sometimes she forgets to tell me. Who would it be this week? Would it be Lower Your Voice, AJ, whose whole family likes to talk so loudly? Or would I go to Speak Up, Saya's house, where everyone speaks so quietly? Mrs. Brisbane, who is taking Humphrey home? Heidi Hopper asked. Raise your hand, Heidi, Mrs. Brisbane told her. Heidi forgets to raise her hand a lot. Mandy Payne said, I am. She forgot to raise her hand, too. So there's Humphrey spinning around in his little wheel. And I know in our classroom, we need to raise our hand too. And we're getting really good at raising our hand. Do you raise your hand at home? Is that something that your family has you do at your home school? If they do, that's great. And if not, that's okay too. Raising your hand is an awful lot about like not interrupting too. So if your grown up is speaking at home, or your little sister or your little brother or your big sister or your big brother is speaking at home, you don't want to interrupt them. So think about maybe you don't have to raise your hand, just wait your turn. Then Mandy said, "That clock must be stuck. It's taking forever to get to the end of the day." Don't complain, Mandy Payne used to complain about a lot of things. Ever since she got her own hamster named Winky, she doesn't complain as much. "I can't wait," I shouted. My friends giggled, even though all they heard me say was squeak, squeak, squeak. So here they are. They're really excited to see who's going to take home that hamster, Humphrey. And just then, the clock hand moved and the bell rang. The end of the day had finally come. My friend Og the Frog splashed loudly in his tank. He's a classroom pet too. He doesn't go home with students on the weekend because he doesn't have to eat every day like I do. "I'll tell you all about my weekend at Mandy's when I get back," I squeaked. "Boing, boing, boing," he replied, hopping up and down. He makes a funny sound because he's a funny frog. Soon, Mandy's mom arrived to pick us up. "Humphrey!" a tiny voice shouted. It was Mandy's little brother. "Hi, Brian," I squeaked back. His name is Brian, but he calls himself Brian. Mandy's two younger sisters, Pammy and Tammy, rushed up to my cage. The girls are twins, but they don't look anything alike. "I'm going to take care of you, Humphrey," Pammy said. "No, I'm going to take care of you, Humphrey," Tammy said. "You're both wrong," Mandy said. "I'm going to take care of Humphrey because he's my classroom pet." So here they are. Lots of people are excited about Humphrey. I guess this must be Brian and Tammy and Pammy, and that must be Mandy and the teacher and the mom. I think this is the mom because she's got her purse, like she just got out of her car to pick up the kids and the hamster. When we got to their house, Mandy put me on a table in the living room next to Winky's cage. "Hi, Humphrey," Winky said. When Winky was born, one of his eyes didn't quite open, so he always looks like he's winking. "Hi, Winky," I replied. "How are things going with you?" "Everything is hamsterific with me," he squeaked. "Same with me," I said. Winky is the only one I know who can understand my squeaks because he's a hamster too. "Glad you could visit, Humph," Winky said. "Wait until you see my wheels." I looked closely at Winky. He had 4 paws just like me. I didn't see any wheels. "What wheels?" I asked. "On my car," he said. "The Paynes, Mandy's parents, got me my very own car. I had a big, lovely cage, a wheel for spinning, and a hamster ball at my school. But I didn't have a car," Humphrey thought. "Look at them. I think they're talking," Mandy squealed. Tammy, Pammy, and Brian, all giggled. "I wonder what they are talking about," Mandy said. "Oh, I know. Humphrey wants to see Winky's car." Mandy put a hamster-sized car on the floor. It was bright blue and it had 4 wheels. In the middle was a bigger wheel, like the wheel I spin on. This was one really wheelie car. "It's wonderful," I said. "Watch this." Mandy put Winky in the big wheel and he started spinning. As the wheels spun, the car began to roll. Mandy took me out of my cage and held me in her hand so I could watch. "Go, Winky," I squeaked. "Go, Winky, go," Pammy, Tammy, and Brian shouted. Winky made the wheel go faster and faster. So here's Mandy holding on to Humphrey so he can see. And then here are the Tammy and the Pammy and Brian. And it looks like Winky is in his car. And here's a wheel And I guess as he runs in the wheel, it makes the car's wheels turn. So he called it a really wheelie car. Let's see what happens next. Zoom! The car glided across the room. When it got to the other side, Tammy picked the car up and turned it around. Zoom! The car glided across the room in the other direction. Keep going, Winky! Mandy shouted. I think I have a wonderful life as the classroom pet in room 26. I think it's the best life a hamster ever had. But I have to admit, I was a tiny bit jealous of my friend Winky. I wanted a really wheelie car too. After a while, Mandy put me back in my cage. Then she stopped the car and took Winky out. I don't want you to get tired, she said as she put him back in the cage. Thanks, Mandy, he squeaked. Of course, I was the only one who could understand him. Do you mind sharing? She asked Winky. Winky squeaked. Not at all. Before I could squeak thanks, Mandy put me in the car. Woohoo! The car felt a lot like my nice yellow hamster ball. But this was no everyday hamster ball. This was a really wheelie car. I started spinning on the wheel. Zoom! The car lurched forward. Zoom! I spun faster and the car rolled across the room. I spun faster and faster. Zoom! Zoom! Go, Humphrey, go! Mandy shouted. As we keep reading, but let's stop for just a moment and let's think, what do you think Humphrey's thinking about right now? First, he was feeling a tiny bit jealous, even though he felt like he was a very well-treated pet. But now he's in this car. I wonder what he's thinking inside. I wonder what he's thinking. What do you think he might be thinking? I want you to think about that right now. Go, 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 Pammy, Tammy, and Brian shouted. I was going so fast they couldn't keep up. Bam! The car slammed into the wall. It spun around and rolled in the other direction. Isn't it fun? Winky squeaked. It's the most fun I've ever had, I shouted. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I could have driven that car forever. For the rest of the weekend, Winky and I took turns racing the bright blue car. One time, Mandy put me in my hamster ball so Winky and I could roll along next to each other. We whizzed through the dining room and into the kitchen. It was fun, but my hamster ball doesn't have wheels. If you had a car, we could have a real race, Winky said. I hope I'll have a really wheelie car of my own someday, I told him. I hope so too, Humphrey, Winky said with a wink. I really do. There they are. There's Humphrey in the ball, and there's Winky in the car, and they're rolling along by them next to each other. And as Humphrey walks, the ball spins and turns, so he keeps moving, just like the wheel or the ball inside the car. It makes the wheels turn, so they're moving along. It's pretty funny that they're talking and enjoying each other so much. I want you to make a prediction right now. I want you to think to yourself, are they going to ever really going to have a race? Do you think that is going to happen at some point in this story? It might. I kind of hope so. I think it'd be very exciting. And I love that this story already has some great action in it. We're going to finish this book pretty fast because that was already the first chapter, which is pretty amazing. So we are finished reading for today. I want to thank you so much for being great listeners. I want you to kiss your brain right now. And I want you to kiss the other side too. And I want you to give yourself a pat on the back. And I want to give you a silent cheer, but you could cheer along with me if you want to. I love it when you listen so nicely. I love it when I know that you're being patient at home and taking your turn and not interrupting. I love it when we can read together. It's just really such a fun time for me. I am going to send you off with my virtual hug. Here it is. Love you guys so much. Miss you so much. It's always one of my favorite times of the day when I get to read with you. I know that while you wait for the rest of the story or the next part of the story tomorrow. I know you're going to be thinking about what might be happening next. That's called making a prediction. And remember, it's a thinking moment. It's not, it doesn't have to be the right answer. It just needs to be thinking. You should always be thinking about what we're reading, thinking about the story, making those pictures in our head, because unlike chapter books, unlike picture books, chapter books don't have that many pictures. So as we're hearing the story, we need to make mental pictures in our brain so that we can think about what the story might be, what's going on in this story. We create visualization in our brains. All right, so again, thank you so much. I want to leave us with our positive affirmation, and because that's really important to always remember about ourselves. So remember to think about how wonderful you are all the time, and one way to do that is to say out loud a positive affirmation. That means you say it out loud. So let's say it together. We'll do it twice. Hopefully Miss Cochran will get it right, and if not, we'll just try it again. Okay? So here we go. I am brave. I am kind. I am honest. I am silly. I am brave. I am loved. And you are very, very loved by so many people in this world. So until I see you again, hold on to that thought about being loved and continue all your hard work. Continue to know that I miss you to pieces. Continue to make me proud. All right? Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.